So, so, so today I'm going to explain the machine learning concept. This is asked in during the interview as a fresher. If you are a fresher, you will face this kind of questions. So, let me discuss the first question is about like trade-off between bias and balance. So, like bias is something is either due to the erroneous or very simplistic assumption in the learning algorithm you are using. This can lead to the model underfitting your data. So basically, bias is something that like the error that you get, kind of like which you simply assumptions of learning algorithm you're using, and like you can get like underfitting problem, making it hard for it to have like predictive accuracy and for you to generalize your knowledge from the training set to the test set. Okay? But while at the same time, like if you will say about the variance error due to the too much complexity in the learning algorithm you are using. This lead to the algorithm being highly sensitive to high degrees of variation in your training data, which can lead your model to overfit the data. You will be carrying too much noise from your training data for your model to be very useful for your test data. That's completely fine. The bias variance decomposition essentially decomposes the learning errors from any algorithm by adding the bias, the variance, and a bit of irreducible error due to noise in the underlying dataset. So, bias variance decomposition essentially decomposes the learning error from any algorithm by adding the bias. Okay, the variance and a bit of irreducible error due to noise in the underlying dataset. Essentially, if you make the model more complex and add more variables, you will lose bias but gain some variances. Okay? So if you make the model more complex and add more variables, you will lose bias but gain some variance. Okay. In order to get optimally reduced amount of error, you will have to trade off bias and variances. You don't either high bias or high variances in the model. What is the difference between supervised and unsupervised machine learning? Right? Supervised machine learning requires a training labeled data. For example, in order to do classification, supervised learning asks, right? But you will need to first label the data. You will use the train to model classify data into label groups. Unsupervised learning involves do not require labeling the data explicitly. How is the KNN different from the K-means clustering? K nearest neighbor is a supervised learning classification algorithm, while K-means clustering is a unsupervised clustering. Okay. While the mechanism may seem similar at first, but what this really means is that in order for K-neighbor to work, you need label data. Okay, because K nearest neighbor is something supervised learning, and basically when you deal with the supervised learning, you require to deal with the label data, right? And at the same time, if you're dealing with unlabeled data, it is something that is coming under kind of like unsupervised learning. So what is the funda here? I hope everything is clear to you. Everybody is getting this concept, and everybody is like learning from this uh, so-called process, right? So now come to the point. K-means clustering requires only a set of unlabeled points and threshold, right? So everybody is getting this point. So unlabeled point of gradually learn how to cluster them into the groups by computing the means of distance between the different points. That's completely fine. Critical difference here is that KNN needs label points and it was supervised learning, while K means does not. So because you can say KNN is something that is comes under supervised learning and K means is something that is unsupervised learning. And also you can say that K means requires like clustering requires like it requires unlabeled points and threshold, right? And like yes, like it's about label and unlabeled data. That is very simple funda, right? If you are coming to the point like how the ROC curve works, so this is very simple, right? ROC curve is like a graphical representation of the contrast between the true positive rates and the false positive rate of the various threshold. Yeah, so it's often used as a proxy for the trade-off between the sensitivity of the model true positive. So it is a curve between you can say and the fallout or the probability it will trigger a false alarm, false positive. Right? Define the precision the recall. That is when recall is called for true positive. We need to call true positive, and when we are talking about the amount of positive your model claims compared to the actual number of positive. Okay, that's completely fine. At the same time, if you deal with the precision is also the positive predictive value, and it is a measure of amount of accurate positive. Okay, so it is basically the precision is a measurement of your amount of accurate positive model claims. Okay, compared to the number of positive actually claims. It can be easier to think of recall and precision in the context of case. where you have predicted that there are 10 apples and 5 oranges in the case of 10 apples. Okay, you have a perfect recall. There are actually 10 apples and you predict that there will be 10, but 66.7% precision because of out of 15 events you predict only 10 apples are correct. Okay, so you can give the explanation as well, like true positive, false negative, true negative. We don't particularly care about true negative when calculating precision recall, as it is not a part of the formula. Okay, so I think everybody is getting this point, right? Till here everybody is getting, and then we are trying to get recall something. uh, what is the bias theorem? Bias theorem is nothing but a machine learning concept, and like which give the probability of event, and mathematically it expresses the true positive rate of a condition simple divided by the same sum of the false positive rate of the population, and the same time like true positive rate of a condition you say had like 60% of the chances of actually the flu part of the false suggestion. So I think everybody is getting to here. Masses like you can also comment to the comment box, so we can try to understand it. Yeah, that's completely fine. Yeah, like it's a conditional probability. Okay, so naive bias and bias is the most important most of the time, like during your interview they're asking such questions, so you must be aware about it, like what is the fundamental way and how to like deal with those questions. Yeah, next question is explain the difference between L1 and L2 regulation. L2 regulation tends to speed the error among all the terms, while L1 is a more binary squares with many variables either being assigned E1 or 1 is a 0 in the weighted. So basically, L1 is corresponding to setting a Laplacian operator to the rating, and while L2 is a confirmed to Gaussian theorem. That's completely fine. What is your favorite algorithm, and can you explain it to me in a less than 1 minute? Okay. So, if this person is asking to you, introvert can ask such in like machine learning activity. You can ask like you can say like there's some like B1 the communicator complex and the technical uses, and uh, you guys can try to tell in those way like while answering such question. You can make sure that you have a choice, and you can get NCOT that you can explain different algorithms so simply and effectively that a 5-year-old could grasp the question. So, what is the difference between type 1 and type 2 error? That is basically type 1 is like false positive. You assume something and positively. False thing you assume correct way, right? Like we can say uh, idle worship is like something that we keep into mind, or like something is like we give the importance to that. So it's something that we need to correlate, and at the same time like type 2 error is a false negative. So I hope everybody is clear to here. Type 1 error is telling us man is okay. The man is a pregnant. Like this is something that prediction. Type 2 error means you tell a pregnant woman she is not carrying a baby. Okay. Okay, so basically type 1 is a false positive, okay, and type 2 error is a false negative. Okay. What is the Fourier transformation? Fourier transformation is basically used for phase to match time sentence. Fourier transformation convert a signal from time to frequency domain, right? And it's convert to the audio signal to the time series, and like it's for like getting the sensor data kind of, right? And it's a kind of superposition, right? So everybody is getting clear. Okay, all the best. Thank you very much.